Namaste and good day, everyone. Today I'm here, your host Vinay Khanduri, with this episode of NBP Hotseat. India is taking up multiple key initiatives for clean energy transition and climate change mitigation. Along with several other solutions, the country considers nuclear as one of the potent tools for clean energy transition and economic development of the country. Central Electricity Authority plays a very crucial role in electricity sector of India. It is a statutory organization established under the Electricity Act of India and mandated to advise the Government of India on policy matters and formulates plans for the development of electricity systems in the country. Today we have with us most eminent Mr. A.K. Rajput of Central Electricity Authority to discuss on clean energy development in India and applicability of nuclear in overall scheme. Mr. Rajput is the member Power Systems and ex officio additional secretary to the Government of India. We are very happy to share with you that Mr. Rajput is also advisory board member of India NBP Conference 2023. I feel extremely delighted to welcome Mr. Rajput on this episode of NBP Hot Seat. His insight on clean energy transition and practical approach to climate change mitigation are worth listening to and following. Pleasure to have you, Mr. Rajput, on this show. We welcome you for this episode of NBP Hot Seat.
Thank you, Vinay. Good morning and good afternoon, everybody, because I do not know what geographical horizons are there.
Yes.
So it is applied to both.
Yes.
So, as a first question, which you told that
we will be going. Yes, so we will be going through several questions during this interview, and Mr. Rajput is here to answer all those questions. He's an expert and has got quite wide experience in this field. So, currently, if you see, the entire focus of world community has shifted on to clean energy transition and achieving net zero in the coming 2 to 4 decades. For India, the target year for net zero is 2070. But from the point of view of national planning and building up of the ecosystem, this is not a very long time. What is your assessment of the India's plans, preparedness, and progress made so far, Mr. Rajput?
Yes, very good question indeed. And it is basically need of the hour. In case of net zero, and also in mitigating the challenges and the impact of the climate change, and also the emissions, the earliest we start, the better it is. And I would say with due emphasis that net zero is not only the target on paper, but it's an urgent necessary for survival of mankind. So lot of things are on stake. In this direction, let me give some background. Since India is a believer in the principle of life, that is lifestyle for environment. So many things can be changed and lesser dependency on the energy can be achieved. We need, for example, the mobility sector, that is the transportation. Some initiatives have been taken to promote the e-mobility, and day by day it is gaining experience, particularly in the two-wheeler sectors. The momentum is high. It is high because our roads are designed like that. We have the congested road in the cities. Of course, highways we are having very good nowadays. On that I will come later. So lot of purchase is being done in the field of the e-mobility, particularly the two-wheeler and three-wheeler segments. The people are also shifting and switching over to the e-cars. That is it. Another major area chunk where the electricity is helping in the transportation is the electrification of railways and development of the metro trains in all the cities. So it will reduce the burden on the congested metro roads and so that the emissions will be curtailed. Just on the upper side of it, high quality roads have been constructed in the form of highways and expressways. Making a journey on that is energy efficient as well as a pleasant experience. It saves man hours. It also reduces the tiredness and the related stresses of driving on a long road.
Yes. Yes.
It's not new. It's not new that we are doing these things right now. Since 2001, the Energy Conservation Act came into being. Under that, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, an organization under the Ministry of Power has been created, which looks after solely the aspects of energy conservation and energy efficiency. Everybody of us might have seen the star ratings on the appliances, and star rating is also on the electrical utility equipment like transformers, and that particular transformer is covered under the quality control order also. So that has to mandatorily bear the
Yes.
ISI marks, that is the BIS mark, standard mark.
Yes.
And India is this way committed for development in the field of bioenergy, biomass, usage of biopellets, and degradable agriculture residue for mitigating the climate change.
Yes.
Just I will add in this particular question one more sentence that is the waste to energy. Lot of focus is there on waste to energy conversion. So it will certainly help us from the fear of global warming potential. And
Wonderful, wonderful insight on this issue. And now moving to central electricity is being mandated to advise the central government on policy matters and plans for developing electricity system in the country, and it has to play a critical role in making this transition possible. So, what do, what is what is the roadmap ahead for 2030 and further for 2070, as we hear in the Indian power sector?
in the development of power sector, as well as the related development in other sectors, electricity is playing a
Yes.
major role, and without electricity, we can imagine the life today. CA has a multifarious role, and whatever you see, the big pylons, the big towers across the highways and along the highways, these are the results of the hard work of the planning, design, construction, operation, and maintenance. And over that is passing the electricity, the power, for which the real time system control is made. Without the real time system control, the grid cannot survive or the load generation balance cannot be established. So, for the stability of the system, we have to have a large and robust system at the transmission end, and at the utilization voltage, we need a strong and automated distribution system. Sometimes we call it the smart distribution system also. So those are the needs which we were so far studying in the literatures and the technical papers. Now those things are being implemented in India, and I am proud to say that CA has been behind all such moves. First and prime role of CA is to advise Ministry of Power in all technical matters and all related legal matters, the policy matters. So policy and planning are the basic fulcrum on which the development can be assured. We have taken the distribution system schemes, that is the revamped distribution system scheme for strengthening of the distribution system.
Yes.
And because of the many initiatives of the government schemes of APDRP, Accelerated Power Development Scheme in
Yes.
the past, and the
Yes.
Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gramin Jyoti Yojana,
Yes.
all the villages of the country are now connected. Now the
That's
next move is to connect each and every household, each and every consumers. And further move to supplement the efforts is that making available 24 by 7 a reliable power supply and a quality supply to all consumers. The results are obvious. Now, gone are the days when only electricity was coming in the villages after say 2 days or 3 days. Now it is coming at least 18 hours. and in some of the improved, some of the say, progressive states, it is more than that. Cities are almost having 24 hours supply. And as far as quality of the supply is considered, because of the concerted efforts of the grid operator and also the better controls exercised through regulations, the frequency mismatch is not there. The frequency is not going too down. It is in the narrow band in and around of 50 hertz. Similarly, the voltages in the grid are controlled now, and so are the consumer voltages. So that aspect is of the quality. CA is also playing an important role in materialization of National Hydrogen Mission. So, National Hydrogen Mission, the government of India aims, or the move of the government of India is to create the hydrogen production hubs. Those hydrogen production hubs will be created, and these facilities will be established near to the ports, because the plan is to make the storage bunker for the hydrogen, and from there the hydrogen in the form of the green ammonia can be transported to, can be exported to other countries, particularly the European countries. So there is where our economic strength lies. We will enter
Quite,
into the business with them, and we will be gaining on the economic front.
quite,
Further,
quite, quite interesting points to note. And moving to our third question, you have mentioned about clean hydrogen, e-mobility, transportation, industrial heating is also there, district cooling, smart cities, and smart buildings will play a crucial role in transition journey of India. But all these applications will make us, a lot more dependent on grid than ever before. So, how is the country preparing for upgrading its transmission infrastructure and ensure its reliability and stability? For example, in the context of US, recently, Microsoft founder Bill Gates also emphasized on this on the role of transmission system in achieving transition objectives. So, what are your thoughts on upgradation and strengthening of infrastructure of transmission sector?
so far as India is concerned, or CA is concerned, or the Ministry of Power is concerned, we are one step ahead of what Bill Gates has suggested. We are in synchronism to that and one step ahead. Reason, we have an independent central transmission utility entrusted with the planning of the system, the interstate planning of the system. Similarly, at the state level, the mechanism exists. And recently, in the month of December, we have launched a program, a scheme, which will be catering to the power evacuation needs of around 537 gigawatt of non-fossil waste electricity. And when I'm talking of the non-fossil waste, I am also referring to the nuclear power.
Okay.
Nuclear, since nuclear has to play a major role in getting the clean energy. So that is there. Another thing is there that hydrogen is a new thing, and the hydrogen policy is also there, under which lot of facilities have been given, lot of you can say the waivers on the
Mhm.
transmission charges have been given
Okay.
for transmission of electricity to produce the green hydrogen. And we are collecting the data, we are aggregating the demand, say like Gopalpur port, like that one Odisha port, one more port is there in Odisha. So from these port cities, the developers or the manufacturers are giving us the demand that we will be establishing the manufacturing hub here, and you kindly provide the transmission facilities. In our agendas, we have started taking those agendas, and there is one more organ of CEA known as the regional power committees,
Okay.
where all the stakeholders meet on a regular basis, and that meeting is on, say, monthly basis also.
Okay.
Monthly basis, some committees meet after 3 months. There the matter is discussed, where the load is likely to come and what the transmission links and other transmission facility has to be there.
That's quite a crucial
One more
aspect.
thing, one more thing I would like to say here.
Yeah, yeah.
We have recently, you can see our website, that the manual on planning criteria for the transmission system. that has been revised and updated, keeping in view the pace of the system development. So many new things have been added to it, mostly to accommodate the variable and intermittent renewable energy sources. So these are our plans, and
Quite
depending on the need, we generally prefer that extra high voltage system should be there for the long distance transmission. And if it is still more distance involved and more power involved, then high voltage direct current system. So these are planned in advance. There is a mechanism of tariff based competitive bidding. So based on TBCB, the developers are selected, and those developers are given a defined time frame, say of 24 months of constructing the lines. If some delays are there, regulatory provisions are there, and they are dealt in a transparent way accordingly.
quite
That,
important developments are happening. And now, as we know, as the transition process, uh, as this transition process is in play, a lot of innovation and adoption of new technology, system upgradation and expansion has to happen in the demand side. So, what are the key areas and opportunities to focus on in the distribution and application side of this transition story? Mr. Rajput, your thoughts on this?
yes, yes. Could you repeat your question? This
So,
question.
with this transition process in play, a lot of innovation, adoption of new technology, system upgradation, and expansion has to happen in the demand side, right? So, what are the key areas and opportunities to focus on in the distribution and application side?
Okay, distribution system is nearest to the consumers,
Yes,
and a lot of scope exists in the improvement and upgradation of the distribution systems.
yes,
It's a fact that in the past, not much investment was made in the distribution system. It was a neglected area.
yes,
But now the things are different. Now the consumers are much aware, and they also want the reliable power supply. And accordingly, the whosoever is the government is there and whosoever is the utilities, they put in their best efforts to develop the system. Another thing is we have to reduce the TND losses. Then only our then only our role
mm,
will be, you can say, then our role will be effective. Reducing the losses means reducing the burden on the generating system, which is
yes,
mostly from the fossil fuel sources. So that way we can mitigate the emissions. Another is the adoption of better quality of the conductors and cables. And for the conductors, the government is in the process of bringing out the quality control order. By quality control order, we means that at least the ensured quality, the assured quality parameters will be there available to the procurer, and it will naturally bear the BIS mark and will ensure the good quality. So that is one meaning of the quality control order. Another aspect of the quality control order is that we want to indigenize. So naturally, the Indian manufacturers will get a preference in getting registered with the BIS.
okay,
So that is one more aspect, indigenization. Transformers are covered in the quality control orders. This I have told. There is one thing known as the time of day metering. And under that time of day metering, I can say I as an utility can offer certain incentives to the consumers who helps me in curtailing the peak demand. If he is participating in the demand side management, he is eligible for certain concessions in the way of tariff. So this is one approach. There are other approaches also. The smart grid initiatives are there, and consumer connect programs are also there, through which they build up the trust among the users of the electricity.
thank you.
But we have to bear in mind that distribution system needs dynamic planning, continuous strengthening, and overall the proper O&M through the trained personnel.
Well said, well said. And now coming specifically to clean hydrogen, uh, this is an important focus area for central government for deeper decarbonization of hard to abate sectors. There are multiple application industries in industrial and transportation sector where hydrogen is key input. So could you please elaborate on it to better understand the potential of clean hydrogen economy?
Actually, hydrogen, entry of hydrogen into the energy sector or the electricity sector, it will change this whole scenario. Hydrogen is an energy carrier. It's not directly a fuel. It's an energy carrier. Hydrogen and its derivatives find many applications, and the whole world is talking nowadays about the green hydrogen. Hydrogen is not a new thing. It was there since long. It is being used in fertilizer industry, refinery, and in the steel making also we can use the green hydrogen. Fuel cell operated buses are quite efficient. So in this long haul buses, we can use the fuel cells and we
Yes.
can get the efficient transportation system or road transportation system. Green ammonia could also be used in the co-firing of the boiler where the
Yes.
coal is burnt so far. So whatsoever the research are there right now, about 25% equivalent of the green ammonia can be burnt along with the coal. So naturally, this ammonia will give the heat, but will not give the carbon emissions and the gaseous emissions. Use of hydrogen is not limited in one or two places. It is in transportation, aviation, shipping, and steel makings. And of course, in petrol refinery and fertilizer industry, and in other chemical industries, its use will be there. So emphasis is on green hydrogen, and the green hydrogen for a common man has been defined as using the electricity from the renewable sources, particularly the solar and wind, and passing the electricity through the electrolyzer. In the electrolyzer, the water gets split into hydrogen and oxygen, and whatever hydrogen comes out of this process is known as the green hydrogen. So this is this. National Green Hydrogen Mission has been launched, and the estimated provision amount there has been mentioned as around 20,000 crore, precisely 19,744 crores.
That's
So
quite
this
significant one.
much investment will be made,
That's
and it can help in decarbonization of the industry. The hydrogen can also be used in running the railways also. And you
okay.
might have heard the news, say about 2 years back, that on an experimental basis, Indian Railways is going to start on a 90-kilometer track, the hydrogen run railway.
That's quite interesting opportunities are there, and quite good business potential is there in this uh, emerging clean hydrogen sector. Now, when we are talking about this transition, we have to discuss on battery technology also. So, it's going to play a major role in the transportation and electricity sector, right? So, how is government coordinating between different stakeholders, and what is the progress made for so far as battery technology is concerned, Mr. Raj?
Right, right. Its journey started from the highest body, Niti Aayog, because they give the concept and the plan, and then the execution is done through the different ministries. So Ministry of Heavy Industries is acting as a nodal ministry, supported by all, that is Ministry of Transport, Roads and Surface Transport, then Ministry of Power, and naturally the heavy industry ministry, Ministry of Heavy Industries for the automobile functioning, and also the testing agencies, ARAI and other testing agencies. Battery in the field of transportation system, battery finds application everywhere, right from our say mobile phones to our laptop and to our computers, UPS, and also in mobility as well as the energy storage purpose at the level of the utility. So depending on the application of the batteries, different type and capacity of the batteries are manufactured, and they are suggested that you use this type of the battery. For the battery manufacturing, production link incentive scheme has been launched, by the Ministry of Heavy Industries, of course, on the direction of Niti Aayog. And this is for advanced chemistry cell batteries. So battery cells will also be manufactured, and there will not be any limitation to the technology. It is technology agnostic. Whatsoever the best technology you can bring, you bring. And over that, on your sales volume, there are the production linked incentives. So that actually, whatever you are producing is actually sold out also. That's the business cycle completes. One thing is missing, the facilities for disposal of batteries. We are continuously taking up with the different stakeholders, and our research institute like CPRI also and CSIR also, they are working at the lab scale for the disposal, safe disposal of the batteries. Another advantage, biggest advantage of the disposal of batteries will be that we can recover the material, we can recycle the material, which is so far you can say in scarcity. That is, the lithium is also in scarcity, and whatsoever the costly metals are used in manufacturing, in the construction of the batteries, those could be regained. So this way the supply chain can continue. And according to one estimate, around 25% of the requirement can be met with recycling process.
That's an
And
interesting development. Quite
yes,
interesting.
yes,
Now, so far we have discussed about the demand side of this, entire ecosystem. However, with increased penetration of renewables, supply side will also become a lot more uncertain now. So different type of solutions, such as battery technologies, as we are discussing, pumped storage systems are being proposed and planned. And then a lot of discussions and plans are being formulated for having sufficient share of base load, dispatchable, reliable, clean sources like nuclear and large hydro in the energy mix of the country. So, what is your perspective and overall assessment about these technologies and their effectiveness?
the first reaction to the question is that we have to make use, or rather, we have to digitalize our system. We are talking of the digital economy, we are talking of the digital banking and other systems. So, similarly, we have and we are slowly and slowly digitalizing our power sector. The whole power sector, which I mentioned just in the previous question, that big transmission lines are visible, but what is happening behind is not known to us. It's okay, I can speak now.
Yes.
Some disconnection came. So, since since renewable energy is inherently variable and intermittent, it requires better and sophisticated controls. When we talk of the controls, it comes from the communication of the data and the collection of the data. Whatsoever that data from the field is collected, it is analyzed at the control centers or the load centers. So those control centers are equipped with sophisticated softwares for the automation. So there, what is being done is collection, supervision, monitoring, and control. So these are the functions. Of course, man-machine interface is there, and human intervention can also be there, which would certainly prevail. So these are the things which are being done to accommodate the renewable in the best possible way. But the renewable energy generation in the system and its penetration requires the some amount of the flexibility also to be provided by other sources. So a limited amount of flexibility could be provided through the thermal power stations. They could also ramp up and ramp down, but not too fast. But it is helpful, really helpful. The regulations have also come to this effect for the flexible operation of the thermal power station. Of course, we have to be cautious that it should not go below 40% of the rated capacity. And it is advisable that it should run more than 60 to 70% of the rated capacity, because running at the lower capacity is somewhat an inefficient operation. and gives more emissions. But it's the compulsion of the system whenever required. The thermal units are being retrofitted or new are being constructed with the provision that they can come as down as 40% also.
Interesting.
Pump storage are treated in two ways. One is the managing the water cycle, and another is managing and controlling the electricity generation, power generation. And these are basically the water batteries, what in common terms we have started calling them. So these are the big batteries because when the low load period is there and excess generation is there, water from the lower reservoir can be pushed to upstream reservoir, and when the peak demand in the system is likely to come, that stored water could be used back. Of course, efficiency is around 75%. And in case of the batteries, many technologies are coming. So far, lithium ion technology is predominating, but redox flow batteries are there, which have the life of say as high as 20 years or more, and they are particularly suitable for the utility scale storage. In the mobility sector, these lithium ion batteries will prevail till some new technology emerges. Batteries could be used as a storage element for different functions. One is the energy arbitrage. Energy arbitrage means we are lacking the energy and we need some energy, so they can discharge. Then frequency support. If the frequency is going down, inject the power through the batteries, so frequency will be controlled. Another is the voltage support, and of course the emergency power supply in the homes, hospitals, running the lifts, and emergency lightings. So other than batteries, there are many developments taking place, which are in the form of the compressed air energy storage, electrostatic and magnetic field storage, flywheels, supercapacitor, and most importantly, the concentrated solar photovoltaic. Because whole of the Rajasthan is full of the lot of you can say solar insolation. So there we can construct the concentrated solar photovoltaic plants, which uses the brine solutions or some other suitable solutions. During the daytime, it will become warm, it will be heated up, and that particular solution retain the energy for a long time. So during the daytime, you are producing some energy through the steam turbine, and during the night time also that you can use the remaining whatsoever the heat is stored in that particular solution during the daytime.
That's quite insightful. And then now, to make this transition, faster, cost effective, and reliable, and to bring down carbon intensity and overall emission level in the country, of the base load capacities can also play a very important role. For example, nuclear. So mainstreaming of base load capacity like nuclear power is an important requirement to enable effective generation of clean energy and create favorable condition for gradual phase out of fossil fuel capacities, right? And perhaps country is also moving in that direction. How do you assess this entire change, and how do you see nuclear in the overall scheme of things?
Actually, this question is very interesting, and the question itself contains the answer that I will say. And let me directly come to the issue of energy security. The main issue is energy security. Energy transition is also there, but without energy security, we cannot imagine the energy transition because we also need development. And India so far have the very low quantum, very low level of emissions as compared to the developed world on per capita basis. So we still have the scope, we have the quota that we can increase our emissions to meet our energy needs, to meet our industrialization, and to move forward our economy. Anyway, let's not discuss that. That is a global issue. We are basically believing in life, that is the lifestyle for environment. So that is the basic principle by which the Indian policies and the Indian laws are implemented. Yes. So the question is what CA is taking. This CA is taking various initiatives So CA has emphasized that energy security is must, and for that, some base load, base generation has to be there. It could be in the form of the fossil fuel based or also in the form of the nuclear power. One of the responsibility of CA is to bring out the national electricity plan on generation as well as national electricity plan on transmission after every 5 years. It's a provision of the law, provision of the Electricity Act 2003. So that is a quite extensive exercise. Lot of discussions, lot of stakeholder consultation take place. Lot of studies are conducted, and in that study, we have considered and
The,
last sentence for this question from my side is any support from the nuclear based power generation is a welcome step by the power sector.
that's really interesting to note and a very important takeaway for this interview. And so before we wind up, what this interview, what would be your final message to the industry and other stakeholders in the government, public and private sector?
If I say in one sentence, of course, I will tell many sentences as usual. If I tell in one sentence, it has that one has to be aware of his roles and responsibilities. So that awareness is a must, and that positive side of it is that awareness is coming. Everybody is careful. So energy transition has to be a reality, and our actions should be in that direction only. It should not be mere the paperwork, but the actions should reflect. Serious efforts are needed to provide energy security as well as striking a balance with our climatic concerns. We are committed to COP26 and COP27 commitments, but we are also committed to the economic development and the in the lifting the lifestyle of the people of this country. There is a need that we promote indigenization and more towards the path of self-reliant. You see
Very
the
interesting.
supply chain disruptions because of this recent phenomena, the recent war. and other issues, other geopolitical issues. So the more we are self-reliant, better it is for our industry and development and survival. For technically,
Very interesting to note it. And
for technically social and environmental issues, there is a need of just transition. So by just transition, we mean because of the closing down of the coal waste, the fossil fuel waste resources, whatsoever the workers will be left out of the job, they need to be accommodated, they need to be settled down,
yes,
because first of all it is a service to the humanity also.
yes.
We should not forget the contribution made and to be made further by the nuclear power sources, because this is the main agenda of this today's interview. So we have to remember, and we have to make the development, bring more technology and more expertise whatsoever needed for the development of this sector as well.
Oh,
So with a vast experience and reliable record of the safe operation of the nuclear resources, it would be it would be the capability of the Indian experts that they fill the gap in clean energy development.
very interesting, Mr. Rajput. Thank you very much for such an interesting conversation on India's energy transition journey and how the things are going to unfold in future. So, viewer, with this, we would like to wind up this episode of NBP Hot Seat. For any questions or queries for Mr. Rajput or for NBP, please drop in your message in the comment section. We will be back to you at the soonest possible. Also, stay tuned for our upcoming annual India Nuclear Conference INBP 2023, which is scheduled to be held on 10th and 11th of October 2023 at Mumbai, India. With this, we are signing off. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.